Stretching from the Julian Alps to the Adriatic Sea, the Balkan Peninsula holds Europe's last great stronghold of wild rivers. From Albania's Vjosa to Bosnia's Neretva. From Montenegro's Tara to North Macedonia's Radica, more than 30,000 kilometers of free-flowing rivers still run through this region. This is the blue heart of Europe. Across the continent, nearly 90% of rivers have been dammed or diverted. In the Balkans, most of them still flow freely. But more than 30,000 hydropower projects now threaten to change that permanently. In response, a movement emerged, Save the Blue Heart of Europe, a coalition working across 8 countries to protect rivers through science, law, and community action. At the center of this movement, women. Women organizing communities. Women challenging governments. Women stopping dams. I am Besjana Guri, and this is River Women, a podcast from Lumi. Today, we meet 2 women defending the blue heart of Europe. Our first story begins far from the riverbank, in Sarajevo, Bosnia and Herzegovina, where we meet Azra Berbić. Azra is part of the Foundation Atelier for Community Transformation. When women of the village of Krušica occupied a bridge for 503 days to stop a hydropower plant, Azra was fighting her own battle in her village.
The fight against construction of small hydropower plants in Bosnia and Herzegovina started way earlier. So in many local communities, people started to fight against it. And it took time until people got connected in between themselves. But I would say that the case of women of Krušica was one of the breakthrough cases because it was so aggressively against people that whole country was in support, and all of the southern whole region were in support of women of Krušica. And I'm happy that the movement got a spotlight in that sense. Also, it was, I can only imagine. I know to some extent, but I can only imagine how hard it was for them because from the stories that they told us is because they stood at the bridge because they thought that the police is not going to, be violent towards women. However, that happened. Men were there as well, but that was their premise. But since the police was violent, this produced a lot of rage across the country, which was, at the end good. And they inspired a lot of people. And at the same time, many other movements were fighting against construction across the country and across the region. So this also helped to boost and give visibility to all of these fights. We are happy also they successfully fought against the construction, although it seemed impossible. But I can fully understand their urge to fight because, again, that's the river you grew up. For someone to come there and to ruin the whole ecosystem and in general, like to ruin the place where you grew up by, to completely make it look different, it would be. It's not only fighting to protect the nature. It's also to fight to protect the heritage and the memories that we have of that river.
Azra understands that courage alone is not enough. Movements need strategy. They need resources. They need coordination. This is invisible work of environmental movements.
Besides supporting these local grassroots movements and organizations, Save the Blue Heart of Europe also supported the campaign to stop the construction of small hydropower plants in Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And it was a crucial partner. And of course, a lot of heritage and accumulated knowledge from across the region was really beneficial for us because it's not only that you, through Save the Blue Heart of Europe at the time, we received some grants. It's not only that. You receive, you have the experts, you have the access to people, to media, put this accumulated knowledge and experience that was extremely valuable in the process of campaigning.
In Bosnia and Herzegovina, more than 300 hydropower projects threaten its rivers. Many approved without proper environmental assessment. Communities are fighting back, and Azra is helping to make sure they can be visible. From Sarajevo, we travel south to Montenegro, to the Komarnica Canyon, one of the most pristine landscapes in the Balkans. Ancient beech forests, extraordinary biodiversity, species found nowhere else on Earth. International experts have proposed it as an UNESCO World Heritage Site. Yet, the Montenegrin government approved a 60-year concession to flood it with a massive hydropower dam. This is where we meet Andrijana Mićanović. She is the Secretary General of CDE-MES organization, the Montenegrin Society of Ecologists, and one of the leaders of the Save Komarnica campaign.
So I grew up next to the Piva Lake, which is actually an artificial lake that was made 50 years ago when Piva River was dammed. So basically, I was raised in the area where I didn't have opportunity to see the wild river, because the biggest river and the longest river in the area where I grew up, which is Piva region, was, dammed and flooded. Actually, when I was a child, I never thought about, I never had really experience and contact with the actually rivers. And then when I started studying biology and going to the field, first time I felt how different the energy is between fresh water, running water, and then artificial lake, like that one, like the Piva Lake where I grew up, which is about 48 kilometers long, So basically, during my studies, I started going to the field and researching freshwater habitats, and that's how I ended up going to the rivers and falling in love with the rivers and actually care about what is happening to them. So when this threat about hydropower dam appeared, that was actually my first time going there, and that's how everything is started, like connection between me and Komarnica, and also about other rivers. So just like to start from the different energy that has like running water and steady water.
Her resistance is legal, strategic, and persistent. Her coalition challenged the project's environmental impact assessment, and only the review process lasted 855 days. They filed a complaint with the Berne Convention, and they organized many protests until construction was stopped.
So basically, when we learned about the project, that was our first action that we could organize without any support and fund, like let's gather people to the place, let's make them know the river and learn the fact, and then we can see what we can expect from the citizens of Montenegro. So that did it. It was like kick-off action, and now it is our tradition for 4 years. So basically, we started organizing camps, just bringing people to the river and talking about projects, because we realized that a very, very small amount of people are really informed about details of the project.
Every year, they organize protest and education camps in the canyon, turning resistance into long-term commitment.
It was really difficult, first of all, because, in media and in Montenegrin public, among citizens, you would hear that we are fighting against government and against country, because the investor and the promoter of the project is the biggest and the most powerful company in the country. So it's totally different than when you fight against some, let's say, smaller businessman or like smaller private investor. This time it was totally different, because it is a project that was described as a project of public interest, like promoted in media like that. So it was really, really difficult at the beginning.
This is modern environmental defense, not just love for nature, but mastery of law, coalition building, and showing up again and again. The Komarnica remains wild, not by chance, but because people refuse to give up. 2 women, 2 countries, 2 strategies.
When the fight for stopping the construction in Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina was at its peak, I got the invite to formally join the ACT, and since then, now 4th year, I'm formally ACT's member. But however, being at the time the Coalition for Protection of Rivers was so strong that all of us felt that we are part of this one big community because there were so many active fights on local level, but also there was this one big fight.
We also aimed to raise awareness about values of the river and its surrounding by organizing activities that can bring people to the river to explore the river in different ways, like kayaking, pack rafting, climbing, hiking, mountain biking, and things like that. And now Komarnica and surrounding area is more and more recognized as a really outdoor center, and it's really first time promoted as a very popular destination.
It was really rewarding for all of us to have witnessed that, because I would say arguably Bosnia and Herzegovina's political system, especially Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, is the most complex political system globally. It's really, really complex. It's really hard to understand how complex it is. So in order to be able to make the parliament that is, consistent, and it's so complex how both houses of the parliament are made to be, to make them vote in favor and of people's law, because we call this people's law, and it was really because people brought this win. People from the villages, from local communities, from all across the countries, artists, academics, everyone who took part, activists from other fields, everyone who took part and gave the support for the campaign. This was their law.
Since I'm in this story for rivers for years now, I really, when I try to explain to someone why I'm so much interested in rivers and why they are so important, I cannot speak about biodiversity and about endangered species, and I always like to compare them to the, like veins of the human body. Like I always see rivers as the veins of the planet, and then what is happening to the body when if you clutch most of the veins.
Together, they represent the strength of the Save the Blue Heart of Europe campaign, a movement proving that local communities and local activists can stand up to powerful interests and succeed. Defending rivers comes at a cost: time away from the family, exhaustion, pressure, threats. But these women also know something else. They are not alone. Across the Balkans, women are leading river defense efforts because they understand what is at stake. When rivers die, communities lose food. When ecosystems collapse, children inherit the damage. The blue heart of Europe is still beating. Its rivers still flow. And as long as women like Azra and Andrijana continue to defend them, there is hope. Environmental defense is not a career, it's a calling. These women are defending more than rivers. They are defending home. They are defending the future. Next time on River Women, we travel to Kosovo. I am Besjana Guri, and this is River Women, a podcast from Lumi.